Welcome to Midway Wool. I'm going to demonstrate a fun stitch called a drizzle. These are drizzle stitches. They're crazy little spiral stitches that are very dimensional, and they have so many fun uses. I'm using a milliner's needle, which is a needle that's long, and the shaft and the eye are the same size, because this is called a cast-on stitch that we're going to be using. So you need to use a milliner's needle for this stitch. I'm using a number 5 eleganza pearl cotton, and I am a right-handed stitcher. This is a stitch that really isn't right-handed or left-handed. It's a very easy stitch for a left-handed stitcher as well. So I've knotted my thread. I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to do these in the middle of this little circle. So I'm going to bring my needle up from underneath all the way. Then I'm going to take my needle down right next to that emerging thread, not in the same hole, but right next to it. Grab to the knot. So right next to it. I'm not going to take it all the way through. I'm going to unthread my needle. So your needle's sticking out the underneath the background, and I'm holding onto it with my left hand. I'm holding onto the needle. Now I'm going to cast on some stitches. I'm not a knitter, so I may cast on differently than you do, because if you're a knitter. But what we're going to do is we're making a loop, and then we're going to lay that loop over the needle, and that's called a cast-on stitch. So you're making a loop. You're not laying it that way. You have to turn it and lay it over. You can do this with your thumb. You can do it with your finger. The way I do it is I just twist it, lay it on, twist it, lay it on, twist it. So all you're doing is making a loop and laying it over that needle. You don't want like we did with bullions, where we want them to stack on each other. We don't want them to overlap. We want the tension to be the same on all of them. We don't want some of them really loose and other cast-ons to be really tight. You don't have to strangle your needle, but you just cast on these little stitches. To get the most out of this stitch, you really need to have a minimum of 12 cast-ons. If you have fewer than that, you're not going to get the spiral look that you want to get. So once you get the number of cast-ons you want to have on this needle, now you're going to rethread the needle. Now, will you not do this? Will you not? I'm a licker, and I don't want people to know I'm a licker.
Okay.
So we need to cut this part out.
Yeah, you won't. I can't see your face or anything on camera either. So.
Okay, all right. And it will take me a while to thread my needle here. Of course, usually I can thread it right away. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you rethread your needle. When you rethread your needle, you don't want to end up with a long tail. You want to keep your tail short, because now I'm going to pull these 3 strands of thread through the cast-ons that we made. If I had a really long tail, that means I'm going to be pulling 3 pieces of thread through all at one time, and it's easier if we can only make that just a short tail, and then we get to 2 threads rather than 3. So I'm going to pull my needle through. I've rethreaded my needle, and now I'm going to pull these threads back through the cast-on stitches. So just very carefully making sure that your threads stay nice and smooth and you don't get any knots in them. Pull that thread all the way through. When you get to the end of this, pulling the thread through. You might have a little loop at the top. Just make sure that you pull that loop through and don't let it wrap over the outside of the cast-on stitches. But anyway, once you get that thread pulled through, then you pull it as tight as you can, and that's what gives you this little spiral effect of your drizzle. So let's do another one. I'm going to bring my needle up, pull it really tight so that drizzle stays nice and tight. I'm going to take my needle down right next to the emerging thread, unthread the needle, and then I'm going to cast on some stitches. And it's fun to make these all different lengths. So some of them can be 15, 20, 17, whatever you want to do. It's just fun to have them make little different lengths of these stitches. I did a project where I had to do 120 cast-ons, which was a real test, not only in counting but on casting on. But anyway, I have a few more on than I did last time, so you can see how they will look different. So when you get the number of cast-ons that you want, you will rethread your needle. Rethread your needle short tail. Then you pull your needle through. Just make sure that the thread comes through and it doesn't knot on you. When you get toward the end, just make sure that you don't have a loop that goes over the end of the drizzle, and then just pull it really tight. So you can see the difference in the length. This one had many more cast-ons than this one, but look how cute they are together. And just make sure that you pull that drizzle nice and tight. And then when you finish all of your drizzles, just go to the back and either knot it or do 3 straight stitches in a row and bury your thread. And that will keep your drizzle secure. So, fun little stitch.